Well, starts out, I guess, pretty Sunday afternoon in March. The boys, the grandkids, several friends and stuff, we were all up at the house out in the yard playing and just having a good time. And I was swinging a couple of the grandkids on a swing. My left side kind of fell asleep. And whenever they saw what was happening, they got me to the hospital. We thought I had a little mini stroke, but it passed. And within a minute or so, I was able to get up and walk, and I mean, everything seemed fine, but they were bound, set, and determined that I was going to go to the hospital and get checked out, so we did. The doctors came walking in the room Tuesday morning. Said, well, he said, you didn't have a stroke. And I was like, well, hey, that's good. And he's like, no, not really. And I kind of thought about it there for a second. Like, how can not having a stroke not be good news? And I looked and said, I got cancer, don't I? And he said, yep, we believe you do. And they showed me some MRI images and stuff of it, and kind of what they were looking at there with it. And I was, it's kind of a deal where, I'd had thoughts, at one time or another, I mean, maybe everybody has them, maybe they don't, but you just kind of wonder how would you handle it if they came walking in, and laid this on you. It was pretty tough. I didn't take it quite as well as I would have thought I could have. And I spent 1 or 2 days there in the hospital. The kids came up, the grandkids came up, parents came up, a lot of friends stopped by and visited. Cindy stayed there pretty much the whole time, except for maybe to go out and get something to eat and kind of whatever. And, I spent a couple days there just kind of not so much praying as trying to make deals with God and being aggravated, because it really wasn't the situation I wanted to be in. I didn't want to have to deal with something like this. And one day I sat in a room by myself, and we were in the middle of another one of our discussions, and all of a sudden it's almost like came across the PA system out in the hall or there in the room or someplace. There's a voice that just kind of said, it's going to be all right. I looked around and there was nobody in the room. I got up, went out, looked out in the hall. There was nobody out in the hall. Nobody around that could have been doing that, playing a trick on me or something. And I sat back down in a chair, and I don't know how long I sat there, if it was 5 minutes or an hour or what it was. But I just kind of sat there thinking about it and trying to figure out, how did that just happen? What in the world could that have possibly been? And I knew in the back of my mind the whole time what it was, but I just refused to accept it. And after I ran through every possible scenario I could run through, I finally just had to give up. I said, okay, that was you, God. I think I'm going to be all right. And it was just kind of like a cloud just lifted. And I've really never looked back from that moment on till now. The Saturday before we left to head down there, and this was just short notice, we put for that Saturday night on Monday, we talked to the Knights of Columbus there in Oran and asked if we could use the hall for the weekend just to have a get together for everybody. Kind of put a little gas in the tank to kind of help carry things through while we were down there. And, friends, family, stuff showed up there. There was 475 or 500 people showed up at that Casey Hall that Saturday night on that short notice. They came in there and through their charity and donations and stuff, they ended up raising $25,000 probably. Just this group of friends and family and stuff that showed up. which was very touching. So we had that money to kind of go down there with. You know, I didn't really feel right having a benefit in the first place. I just wanted all my friends to get together. I wanted to see everybody before I left. And you know, there's got to be some way we can do something with this thing. And the closer it got to the end of my treatments, the more this thing kind of started kind of coming together, that this is a good ideal. You know, we can, you know, if we don't make another penny, if we don't do another thing, if we just take the money that we have right now, you know, we can make a difference for, you know, some of these, my friends and family. I mean, everybody's gonna face this. You know, everybody's gonna have a friend, a family member, or them themselves that's gonna end up with it. And we can do something to help them out. I've missed an awful lot of this year. You know, it's one thing I kept saying while we were down there in Houston. This is the first time in my life that I have not seen a crop get planted and watched it come up and grow. You know, I've never missed it in my life. You know, and as we've gone through this fall harvest, you know, I've got to spend a good bit of time out here working around again and stuff out here, but I know I'm limited in what I can do. You know, I don't have the get up and go and the energy that, you know, I did have. But, you know, Ty and Caleb have really had to step up and have their baptism by fire this year. You know, they had a really rough year to have to go out there and put in their first crop. And it just, you know, the conditions were by far less than favorable. The whole thing about the Semo Can-cer Vive Foundation is going to be to help give you peace of mind, to help you find the peace and grace to deal with what you have to deal with. And all I know is what I went through. And as we grow and as we learn, there will be modifications made to it, because I know my story is not everybody's story. So as we come in contact with other people that have gone through this and other people that have had to, you know, and find out where they got their strength from, find out where they managed to find their peace and stuff to go through this and get through it, that will all be implemented into it as we go along. You know, this setup is a non-profit. You know, it's strictly volunteer. It's strictly by the grace of God and the good of their hearts are doing it. Our goal is to eventually be able to get a second opinion or do something with it. I was fortunate enough to be able to take off for a week or two to go someplace else. What we'd originally like to be able to do down the road is, if you come and tell us that you have been diagnosed and you would like to get a second opinion, we would like to be able to give you just a gift card for, you know, a Visa card or whatever for, say, $500 or something. You take that and you use that for some of your travel expenses to get where you're going and get back. And when you come back, you bring us your receipts for your hotel stays and, you know, kind of some of the gas, you know, whatever you had to do, you bring us your bills back. And then we would like to reimburse you for what you were out of pocket to go get this second opinion. You know, there's a lot of comfort in being able to see that to know that you have 2 or 3 teams of individual, you know, very intelligent, very knowledgeable people that deal with this every day, and know that you have I mean, 2 or 3 highly trained groups of people looking at your situation and looking at, you know, your diagnosis and coming up with a treatment plan for you. And if you can help take part in that, and you can actually kind of help pick the treatment that you get to take, where you can kind of help in some of the decision-making process, there's comfort in that too. I can never thank the people that have done this enough. You know, I can never put into words. You know, I've sat down on how many times I started making a list of the people that I need to go back and find and thank. And the list just goes longer and longer, and I don't know how to do it. You know, I mean, I don't know what to say. You know, thank you just doesn't do it. Thank you is not enough.